Hello, this is a demonstration of how we can use the Sincpac C3D to export our cargo points to Google Earth. And this feature in the Sincpac C3D also allows us to substitute our own custom image files for any of our markers from Google Earth. So we can, or any of our markers from our Civil 3D drawing. So we can really customize the appearance of our points in Google Earth. And in this particular drawing here, I've got a bunch of points in here, and I've got this drawing set up in state plane. It's in a Colorado state plane, and I have a bunch of points here that are let's say I've got some primary control points here that are also in a point group called primary control. Also got some secondary control point groups here, and they each use a different style. Now if I were to come over here and take a look at the style of one of these, say this control point here, then we can see that it's set to use an AutoCAD block for a symbol. And if we can find it in here, there it is. So it's set to use that block as its symbol. And similarly, this one is set to use a block as a symbol. Same thing with this one. And let's go ahead and take a look at the little mapping file that we're going to use that will map each of those symbols to an image. And you will eventually see the images in Google Earth. So let's take a look. Here's just our mapping file. And I only have two of the symbols mapped at the moment. So to start off with, we've got the station, that's the primary control point, and it's mapped to this PNG file, which is just an image on my local server here. And then I've also got that other one. This is the block for the secondary control point. And we're mapping it to an image that's available on Google's public web server. So this is just kind of a generic white triangle. And you notice we have that test hole as well, but we don't have a mapping for that one. So that one's just going to fall back on our default mapping. Let's go ahead now and take a look at what happens when we run the command. I'm going to select the points I want to export here. And then I'm just going to right click and run my ExportKMZ here. I'm going to go ahead and leave this option selected for grouping points by primary control point. And then here I can go ahead and name the KMZ file I'm going to create. Here I can give a description. I can tell how I want the place mark formatted. This will be the name of each place mark as it shows up in Google Earth. And I've got a bunch of values here that I can key in. Like the percent, none% here gets replaced by the point number. And I've got a bunch of similar codes here. Anything else I type in here gets passed through unchanged. So the way I have it set up now, we'll have a point number and then a hyphen and then the full description. And here is just the image that we'll use for anything that doesn't have a mapping. So anything that had no mapping in that mapping file we just saw, which I've got selected here. Anything that isn't mapped there will automatically just use this, which is just kind of a generic circle from Google's website. So we'll go ahead and say OK here. That created that KMZ file. So now let me go ahead and browse to that, and we'll go ahead and just double click on it to open it. And it opens up in Google Earth here. And we can see here the primary control points came through using that custom image that was on my server. And this image gets packaged up in that KMZ file. So I can still email just that KMZ file to people, and they'll see this is exactly what they'll see, even though they don't have access to my server. But that PNG file is in the KMZ file. So for these that are available on Google's public server, on if it uses a public server, then there's just a link in the KMZ file. So this is just these are got by a link to the image on the web server. And we could see that each point got formatted with the point number and then a hyphen description. And this one that had no mapping just came through with that default circle symbol. If I click on any one of these, I could see some additional information. And so you may be able to already start to see how this can really change the way that you might deal with your clients. Because now if you can just dump out a bunch of points like this and just tell them install Google Earth, it's a free free download from Google. Then all they have to do is click on your KMZ file and it will jump right to your job here, and then they can see exactly what you're talking about. And so that's just a brief example of this export KMZ feature in the Sincpac C3D.